Hi, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Catherine. I am joined today by Tedi Serge. She is a co founder of Girl Powerful. It is a nonprofit organization dedicated to making all girls feel seen, feel valued, and heard. And who wouldn't want to be on board with that? Thank you so much, Tedi, for joining me. It's good to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk to you and let's see what we can inspire today.
Yes, well, you're doing a lot of inspiration with Girl Powerful. And this is something that you co founded with your sister, Sonya. Nearly 2,500 girls across the country have taken part so far in your programming since you first launched in 2014. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I feel like we're really unique too because we count like the whole program as one touch and not every time we see them. So if we really said the real numbers, it'd be times all that by 10 because we're a 10-week program. So we spend a lot of time with today's youth and we're lucky to be their mentors and we both learn
Mhm.
from each other.
Well, especially right now, because back in 2014, girls weren't experiencing, what they're experiencing these days. It looked a lot different. And right now, they're dealing with the pandemic and all the repercussions of that for them, social isolation, depression. How would you describe the challenges young girls are dealing with right now in your interaction with them?
Yeah, definitely. It's really the girls that we hold close to us and the ones that we have access to, since they are in Girl Powerful programming, they're able to share their emotions and their feelings. And we definitely hear every day is I'm lonely.
Mm.
Okay, so loneliness, that's a way a kid can say, I'm sad, I'm stressed, I'm depressed. So like I'm lonely is like the kid version of a lot of big feelings. So they're lonely, they're isolated like you mentioned, and we're lucky that we can go into their houses through Zoom like this and talk to them and give them the mental health tools to maneuver this crazy time in the world.
Well, and we as adults can relate to a lot of that loneliness they're expressing, but we have learned how to process that. And they're at this age where they haven't always been conditioned to do that, which is what I love about your programming. You offer support through online programming, journals, and various activities for teen and tween girls, very important to teach them tools like empowerment and that strong sense of self that's so important to us, especially as we get older. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the exercises and activities that you use and how those are based on social and emotional learning?
Yeah, definitely. So, social and emotional learning is really teaching a child how to regulate their emotions and to communicate. So, that's something that I wasn't really taught. And that's why Sonia and I do what we do. We like to, you know, be the people we needed when we were younger. So, looking through our book, Girl Powerful Journal, there's things about respect, gratitude, health, risk taking, confidence building, brain dumping. So when you journal, you're being authentic and honest with yourself. You're writing the positive, but you're also writing the negative. So you can like acknowledge it, see it, let it out, and then move on. And I think that's a
Mhm.
really big tool for everybody of all ages. Is I used to write journals prompts that were like, really whimsical and fantasy land that if I died tomorrow, someone found it, they'd be like, I bet he was a happy, good person, you know? But like that's not reality all the time. So it's important to be honest with yourself and acknowledge your feelings and your big feelings right now, especially.
Absolutely. I find that the more that we converse and share some of those feelings, the more we find that we have so much in common, which I think when you talk about that loneliness is so important for young girls to feel like they're not alone. Have you had to shift any of that programming because of the situation with the pandemic in the last 8, 9 months?
Yeah, it's been really interesting. We've grown so much actually because we are accessible through Zoom now. And so we're nationwide and actually have a following in Europe now. So that's
Hmm.
pretty cool. And the girls, what you just said, like connecting and communicating with each other and telling stories and sharing feelings is how women bond. And that's like back to ancient times. And that's why the girls feel so lonely. There's a lot of girls being like, my brother, he's okay because he has his friends and they play Fortnite together. Or they play all these games online and I'm not into that. So I'm in my room and that's that. So when they can log on to Girl Powerful, of course, we talk about how you're feeling today. And then we always like look at the good news. We're always like, let's share something good that happened today. And you're seeing a lot of people that are able to see different family members if they, were business people and traveling all the time. So there's that positive. You're getting to have family dinners, you're getting to bike ride with the family or walk
Hmm.
the family dog. So that's really cool. But then on the flip side, if you don't have a healthy family unit, you're seeing those problems are magnified. We're hearing
Yes.
girls tell us and be honest and say, my mom doesn't like me as much as my sister. Or, yeah, my dad told me to leave. Like, he said, leave the room, and like never came and said sorry for yelling at me in front of his like work people. Like, there's just a lot of things like that that are showing up. And I don't
Hmm.
blame anybody for having a big reaction if your kindergartner shows up and is like, hey, come swim with me. They can't. But it's just really interesting how open the girls are to sharing with us, me and Sonya,
Mhm.
but also each other, because we have about 10 to 25 girls in each classroom, and they're just very open and vocal, and they're just kind of craving this kind of connection right now.
And it's so important because at this age, they're really nurturing all of those feelings that they're going to have as they get older, the self esteem, the confidence, all of those feelings that need to be built right now so that they grow up to be these empowered women, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, have you heard of the confidence gap? It was
No.
a stat that came out of Harvard a while ago, like 2016, when like women empowerment really like took a forefront in everybody's lives. And between the ages of 8 and 14, girls lose 30% of their self-esteem. And then they never get it back. And that's due to puberty, right? That's due to all these hormones pumping through your body and no one talking to you about it. And then you comparing yourself to Jessica and she's got boobs and you don't, or you started your period first and no one really talking to you or like sharing like what is happening to your body.
Hmm.
So again, like girls lose 30% of their self-esteem and they never get it back, and boys don't go through that. So when people say like what about the boys, of course they need love and mentorship and coaches and teachers to love them and teach them, basic values of morals, of course, but they're not going through exactly the same things in their body as girls are.
Hmm. And I'm glad you touched on the comparison factor that young girls have to deal with because in today's world now, they have this added layer with social media. And that has an enormous influence on a young girl's ability to see herself, but also her mental health and how they interact with their peers. How has that become a challenge that you've had to kind of work through with your programming as well?
Yeah, I think it's really hard to make like a cookie cutter thing for every family. So every family, it looks different. Like when you get your first cell phone is a very wide range of ages. And so like it's kind of complicated and every situation is different and it needs to be looked at and treated that way. So that's what we do. We talk to the parents and we ask them like what's going on, like when we onboard them like
Hmm.
via just like a Google Doc, and then we ask them like what the kids actually being exposed to, because that girl could share something in a class that someone else doesn't know. And even
Hmm.
if you're in the same age group, we're all exposed to so many different things. So I think that that's been something on Zoom classes that we've had to maneuver a little differently and actually like close the age ranges like down to their actual like year or like their grade school year to
Have you
keep
had
everybody safe.
to have you had to target social media specifically though and helping girls, you know, navigate that whole world of what is real and what is not?
Yeah. So we're on TikTok because that's where our audience is. And it's really interesting to watch a lot of the people that really have gained a huge following. We actually have gained a decent one. We're almost at 20,000 followers, but
Wow,
only,
congratulations.
yeah, we only put out positive messages and helpful tools and healthy habits. And it's sad to say that like in society that's not as valued as like sex, rock and roll, drugs, nudity. It's just not. And it's really hard to like maneuver that and like talk to our girls that help us make that positive content of like why their numbers look different than someone else, and then talking to them also about how those values and clicks and likes don't like make up your true value like as a human being.
Hmm.
And the ones that really spend time in Girl Powerful understand that, and it's really actually pretty cool that they sometimes can pick out that a human or someone, and not in a judgmental way, but they're like, well, that's not very girl powerful because they're not, leading with their voice or their brain or their heart. They're leading with
Mhm.
a tube top and booty shorts, which is cool. Hey, I'm all about it. Like, I'm on vacation in Hawaii. Yeah, I'll wear scantily clad. Like, I'm all about body positivity, but our girls don't need to be comparing what their bodies look like because everyone's so different at that age when you really don't understand it. And
Mhm.
actually, one mentor came on the other day and we were doing a workout, and she was really honest and like turned her camera around and she's like, there's a ring light here. I normally don't have all this like pretty nice brand new clothes on. Like, this is what I normally look like. My hair is a mess. I'm a mom and I'm like running around taking care of my family. So we try to be as honest and open as possible. And I do really think that's why the girls like Sonya and I and have for years on end, because we
Well,
hold girls. Like, we've met a lot of these girls
right.
in kindergarten and now they're all in 8th grade and we all still meet weekly. So it's a real community, and they're lucky to have us. We're lucky to have them. And then definitely they're lucky to have each other.
Well, what does that mean to you personally, or how does that impact you personally when you see a little girl that started with you since she was in kindergarten and has grown and blossomed because of the interaction and girl powerful uh, programming that she's been able to encounter and participate in?
Yeah, a girl having access to our program has just shown like they just stand out. It's how they communicate. It's the feedback I hear from our mentors, like, wow, they are able to express themselves like way beyond their years. They can journal better than I can. Like, it's just like those, they really know how to flex those muscles. And then I'm seeing like girls that are class president and girls that are like on pre-Olympic sports teams. Like, they really like push themselves really far, and it's just really beautiful. And then girls that come from underserved communities, because half of our seats in all of our classes are free to underserved youth. So we work with a lot of foster girls and people of color. So I've seen them connect with us via Instagram because they need people, they need mentors, they need those relationships. And they're like, can I share with you a positive thing that I hit a goal this week? Can I always share those with you? And I'm like, please,
Mhm.
please do. I'm here for you. And, if you don't have any other positive adults or role models in your life, I would gladly take that role.
Everybody needs a pat on the back occasionally, that's for sure. What
Yeah.
was happening in yours or Sonia's life that made you decide back in 2014 this was something you wanted to do?
Yeah. So I'm a teacher and I was seeing all the girls like and so young, like life is so different now, number one. Number two, they would
Yes.
spend all of their recess just doing like just fighting and bickering, and no one would agree on anything, and it's just like typical like catty girl stuff. And so after recess I'd have to spend like 30 minutes like playing like a judge in a courtroom almost. And I was like, they have no idea how to regulate their emotions. And these things don't matter. Like, they do in that the kids' world, but they need to be able to zoom out, take a couple breaths, and like move on with their day instead of like
Mhm.
totally flipping out and letting it take over and like letting it like ruin their free time when you're supposed to be having fun and connecting with your friends. So I was seeing that kind of stuff in recess and then after school. And then Sonia actually worked in the music industry,
Mm.
and that can be a toxic environment and very like male dominated chauvinistic kinds of things. And I was bringing home a lot of social and emotional learning tools to talk to my girls about. And Sonia just kind of started reading through it and she's like, I need this, right? Like, I need to learn how to regulate my emotions when this guy says this to me. And, I'm a young female in the corporate world. So that's what happened. Sonia left music, and then I ended up helping her write this curriculum that we've had about 4 books before this actually published one. And this is just like the best of the best over the couple of years that we've been teaching, and the girls' favorite pages we were just like ripping out. And then that's how we came up with our actual 10-week program that we kind of married now. So that's
That's
how it
so
happened. It was
exciting.
out of a need, and then out of a need for us and like how we felt about how powerful you can actually be when you can tap into the inner power inside you. And that's what girl
Mhm.
powerful means. The power comes from inside you. And then you can walk with grace and grit through life. And, you can just reach your full potential. And that's what girls need right now. They're seeing, the new vice president's a female. They're actually getting to
Yes.
see really positive mentors on the screen. So they need to know how to feel and maneuver and, show up every day for themselves, self-care. And then they can do it. They don't just get to dream it. Now you can see it. So it's happening. And so we don't want anyone to feel sad or depressed anymore, even though we are living in this pandemic. And they're
Mhm.
saying the CDC put out a report last week that 50% of teens reported that they are depressed. So we have a
That's
lot of
so
work.
frightening.
Yeah. And 20% of those people feel suicidal.
Mhm.
So, I mean, everybody can be a mentor, right? Like you said, you're a mom, you have your daughter at home. Like there's neighbor kids that probably look up to you in your daughter's relationship. Like it's like always just when you step out the front door, assume someone's watching and be a good person. That's
Mm,
what I
I
say.
love that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's so perfect. And I love the fact that you've been able to pivot during this pandemic and still reach so many young girls at such a critical time. I know that you started a new 1-day summit that you've added to your curriculum. I love that too because they get to hear from experts in language they understand. How important is that for them?
It's so important. And I feel like everyone connects to Girl Powerful when they are a woman and they see what we're doing and they're like, wow, I needed that. I didn't need to spend my 20s and 30s crying in a women's circle. And yes, that's how I healed and that's how I developed. But holding these circles now for the girls, it's prevention. So actually on Valentine's Day, we're having one of I think the biggest summit we've ever had so far. So Valentine's Day, we're going to call it obviously Galentine's Day, and it's going to be about self-love. And Julian Huff's brand, Kenergy, we're going to do
Hmm.
embodiment movement and dance and, touch ourselves and give ourselves those hugs that we're all craving. And then the two founders of Health Aid are going to come on and make little Valentines, and everyone's going to be sent some Booch Pop and Valentines, and they'll design them with the founders of Health Aid. And then Sonya and I obviously will be teaching empowerment and self-care tools to bring us through the spring.
How fun. So that's on
Yeah.
Valentine's Day. We'll have to remind all the young girls who are watching this or anybody who wants to pass it along to a young girl that they should definitely climb on board for that. You have some great sponsors, by the way. So how can girls participate in Girl Powerful? What do they need to know to get on board?
Yeah, I mean, on our website, there's an application. And so you can just sign up for that summit if that was something that sounded exciting to you. And then on there, same thing on the bottom, there's an application for financial aid if that's what you need. But this summit is very accessible. Like our prices sometimes were too high. And even our own mom was like, Teddy, you gotta be more accessible. But then there's valuing yourself and all these other business things.
Yes.
And so, hey, this one is one for everybody, and we hope everyone can make it. And we really don't ever turn a girl away. But on the same side, if anyone can sponsor a girl, that's like the best thing ever because
Well,
then
I was gonna ask you that. So if somebody's interested in sponsoring or even just making a donation, can
yeah,
they just go to the website or how do they reach you?
it's right there on the website. There's a floating donate button. You get a tax deductible donation receipt right away, and it's easy. And we appreciate you, and we'll write you a thank you note.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me tell everybody where that website is. It's girlpowerful.org. And then you are also on Instagram and Facebook at Girl Powerful Project. I have not seen you on TikTok yet, but
Ooh,
are you Girl Powerful Project on TikTok too?
yes, we are.
Awesome. Teddy, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much. And thanks for all that you are doing with your sister on behalf of all these young girls. I wish that I had something like that when I was that age.
Thank you so much for your time and your audience. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks so much for watching Conversations with Catherine. Please remember to hit the subscribe button, like, and comment while you're here. I'll see you next time.